Okay, I'm going to try to show you how you can take photographs of your Gesneriads with your phone if you would like to have some fun. So I'm far from an expert, I'm just experimenting, but I'll share with you what I have done. So I've taken pictures on my phone. I personally have a Pixel 3, but this would work with any phone that you have. What I'm going to show you is using Google Photos, which everybody has access to. Um, the approach would be similar with other phones and apps in terms of editing your pictures. So I'll show you how you can play around and just get you started, and you can play around some more. So I'm going to share my screen, um, and you'll see that I have some photos of my Gesneriads. I'm going to show you, it'll let me here. It will not let me. Let's see. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to show you, first of all, I have Gesneriads under lights, but I keep Gesneriads in our kitchen window just because I think they're beautiful, and also because it's an east facing side of the house, so they get some nice light in that way. We have some trees in the backyard, so there's some sun, but this particular window probably gets in the neighborhood of probably 6 hours of light or so here from the east. Um, And so this is how I have my Gesneriads. What I did is I bought this is actually just a piece of fabric from Joann Fabrics. I think it's wool. So it's like black wool, like you might make a overcoat out of. So it's maybe a little bit like felt. That'd probably work as well. What you want to do is get something that has some texture that won't reflect light. If you were to use a sheet, for example, a sheet would probably reflect light, which you want to try to avoid. You actually want the light to be absorbed into the fabric. And fabric works, in my opinion, better than paper, although you can use that as well. I just like fabric, so it's easier to work with. So what I did is, and you come up with different ways to hang it. I just roll the fabric up on a dowel rod and then unwind it. You can see I've clipped it here. If you can see my, let's see if I can, let's see, spotlight. I'm learning how to use, so you can see right here, I just did, sorry. Where's the spotlight? Okay, you see right here, you see that arrow? So I've put a kind of a clothespin on my shelf. Okay, the next picture is just going to show that I've let me, not going to let me. I'm sorry here. There we go. Okay, the next picture is going to show you, I've just got it clipped on both sides now. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to take one of my Gesneriads. This is Johari that I've set now on my fabric. And you see, I just let it drape down and then onto the counter. I'll show a little bit later. There's actually a ceiling light above, which makes it kind of ideal. There's light coming from above. So you can play with the light. It's kind of interesting actually to have light coming from the side, but there's a number of different ways to do it. So here's my first picture. One of the things that you want to do is when you're taking a picture with your phone, typically on your phone, at least with my Google Pixel, if I before I actually snap the shot, if I touch the screen, it'll focus on whatever area I touch. So for example, before I take the picture, if I were to touch my screen on the leaf, it'd focus on the leaf. So if you know how to focus, that way you may want to focus on a flower. I probably would have focused on this front flower here if I had to do it over again, but anyway, that'll work. And here's a couple more pictures. So I took a number of pictures. Here is falling stars. Okay, so those are all the pictures that I took. All right, and so now I'm going to go back and I'm going to show you how to edit these pictures. So I'm going to exit back to my collection of pictures, and I'm going to pick one. These here, I had the light turned up too high, so I was playing around with the light so you can see this one and this one, how much you can see the fabric. These two, I had the light level, fairly low, so I get a lot of black. So there's several I could try. Let's try this one here. I'm going to open it, and then I'm going to go. So all I did was open the photo in Google Photos, and up on the right you'll see a little thing that with, if you're listening to music or something, you might think of that as an equalizer or something. I can click on that and it will open up my edit. And I'm actually going to click on it again because it's doing some auto formatting. I want to manually format. And so it's letting me edit light, color, and pop. I'm going to leave color and pop alone. You can play with those if you want to, but I want the picture to look as natural as possible and not mess with those. What I'm going to mess with is the light. And this is really just trial and error. One that seems to help is shadows. So you can turn shadows up and down. You see what happens with that? Okay. If I turn the shadows down, this picture is already pretty good in terms of shadows. I'm actually going to turn that all the way down on this one. That looks pretty good. And then you can also play with exposure. You can play with light. You can play with them all if you want to, but you can play with these and just see if you get it until the way you kind of want it to be. See that? Okay. And contrast. Let's see. Actually, I guess I'm going to turn the contrast down just a little bit. I like that. And the highlights. One of the things I'll do is turn it all the way up, all the way down, just kind of get a sense of what it's doing and play with it. It's probably not a lot there. And then whites, what does that do? Whites, I think I'm just going to leave it alone. So highlights and whites, looks like I'm just going to leave it alone. Contrast a little bit. Exposure didn't seem to help. Light, I could probably turn it back to where it was. Let's see what the blacks do. If I turn black, oh, that's interesting. Okay. I wonder if I turn shadow down, will it turn black up a little bit? Okay. And then if you want to play with Google Photos, and I'm guessing other apps that do the same thing, they give you what's called a vignette, which if you've seen photos where the edges kind of blend out, where it's kind of focusing on a certain area, let's try that and just see how that looks. Well, that's kind of cool. We could play with that a little bit if you wanted to. I'll turn it up just slightly. Now I'm just going to say done. And okay, so now we have a photo of Johari, and I think I'm gonna click this and I'm actually gonna download it to my desktop or somewhere. I'll download it to my pictures, and I'm gonna post it on Facebook, and you'll see it there. And I'll figure out how to get this video out there that you guys can watch, and maybe we'll play again later. Let's see if I can get out of here, stop sharing. Okay. Have fun.